We want to thank you for tonight's meeting. I'll now call it to order, and I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Roll call: Philbrook.
Here.
Bynum.
Here.
Walker. Townsend.
Here.
McKiernan.
Here.
Mugia. Johnson.
Here.
Kane. Markley. Walters. Holland.
Here. All right, as we begin the meeting tonight, I do not have a list of who is offering our... Reverend Kemper is here to offer our invocation. We ask you to please stand for our invocation and remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Shall we pray? Dear Heavenly Father, most gracious Father, we ask you to give this group of people, these leaders, wisdom and understanding, and let them continue to lead this city and this community. We ask you for strength, not division, but unity, and we ask you to guide us. In this your Son's holy name, amen.
Amen. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Reverend Kemper. I have to say the Pledge of Allegiance sounds a lot better with a crowd in the room. All right. First, I will ask, before I will ask for revisions, I want to announce that anyone who's interested in addressing the commission tonight during the public hearing of the 2018 Unified Government Budget, we ask you to please sign up at either door. If you did not sign up on your way in, we would ask that you move to the door to sign up because you'll be called to speak in the order in which you signed up. I also want to let you know that the clerk will announce who's speaking, who's on deck. You'll be given 3 minutes to speak, and the clerk will give you a 1-minute warning. So we ask you to be brief. By the way, you're never required to use all 3 minutes, but you're welcome to. Amen? All right. I'll ask the clerk now if there are any revisions to tonight's agenda.
Yes, Mr. Mayor, a blue sheet has been distributed. Under the administrator's agenda, we have additional information from item number 1. It's a resolution regarding the Kansas State Historic Preservation Grant Fund for the Quindura Ruins District.
All right, thank you. I would also like to point out that I think, Commissioner Markley, do you have an announcement about a special recognition tonight?
Yes, I just wanted to mention that Commissioner Johnson has taken on the treasurer's position on the MARC board, and I wanted everyone to know that and to recognize we're very excited for someone on our commission to have taken that leadership role. So congratulations to Commissioner Johnson.
Congratulations.
I'm glad you came tonight so I could embarrass you. Thank you.
That is the Mid-America Regional Board. So thank you, Mid-America Regional Council Board, thank you. All right, our first order of business is the appointment of Commissioners Mike Kane and Angela Markley to witness the destruction of election ballots on March 27th. This is a regular exercise required by state law.
Move to approve as submitted.
Second.
All right, it is properly before us. Roll call.
Roll call: Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. Markley. Walters. The vote is 9-0. That motion carries.
All right, that brings us to tonight's consent agenda. I would like to ask anyone in attendance tonight or any commissioner or member of the staff if you would like to set aside an item from tonight's consent agenda. If you'd like to set an item aside, please step forward to the microphone. Any item not set aside will be voted on by a single vote. Let the record show no one is moving to set an item aside. It is properly before us. Roll call.
Roll call: Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Kane.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Markley.
Aye.
Walters. The vote is 9-0. That motion carries.
All right, we have now an award presentation, an award certificate for the 17th consecutive year. Mr. Bach, will you make the presentation?
Thank you, Mayor. The Government Finance Officers Association is a professional association serving over 17,000 government finance professionals across the United States and Canada. The organization has awarded the Unified Government the Certificate of Achievement for its 2015 Comprehensive Annual Financial Report, or CAFR. And this is the highest form of recognition for financial reporting, and the GFOA considers this a significant accomplishment by a government and its management. In order to be selected, the CAFR is determined by an impartial panel to meet the highest standards of the program, including demonstrating a constructive spirit of full disclosure, to clearly communicate its financial story and motivate potential users and user groups to read the CAFR. This is the 17th consecutive year the Unified Government has achieved this award. And the Mayor has this evening to present to our Director of Accounting, Rick McKessick.
Congratulations. Thank you, Mayor. Just to get a picture of the three of us.
Okay, great.
Next year, when we receive the award again, Mr. McKissick, you'll have to bring your musical instruments and your whole musical team to do a presentation for us. That would be fantastic. All right. That now brings us to our public hearing under the 2018 proposed Unified Government Community Development Budgets. I want to say just a word about this process. For years and years, and I've been up here since 2007, and we would have a public budget hearing, which is required by state law, the night that we would vote on the budget, or the night before, the 2 days before, when really there were not much room for revisions. That was moved to May, so we could hear in advance of the budget session, but one of the things we learned is there wasn't adequate time even to consider that. So a few years ago, 4 years ago, I believe Commissioners Markley and McKiernan, fed up with said process, came up with a new plan and said we need to invite the public to speak. And as we did the backward counting back in February, so that whatever impacts came from public input could be properly discerned by the organization and by the commissioners, so there would actually be due consideration for it. So our budget, you'll see the calendar for our budget process, but this really begins the budget process and backs it up 3 months for proper consideration of public input. We still do hold the public hearing as required by public law right before the vote, because we want to, obviously we're going to fulfill the law, but this opportunity here really gives more opportunity for input. We will take your input and the staff's response to it into our annual financial retreat, which will be April 20th that the commission will have. That is a public meeting that will be televised, but it'll be a meeting on a Thursday, April 20th, that will where we will take consideration of looking at our financial forecasts that we heard at 5 o'clock, looking at the input from the public, the input from the staff, and really begin to work the budget. We used to do the whole budget in 3 weeks. We now do the whole budget in 6 months. And it's turned out to be a much better process. So I appreciate the commissioners, all of the commission, ongoing commitment to this process, but we are ready to open it up to the public for your input. So I'll turn it over to Mr. Bach to begin this presentation. We do have a few slides of presentation, so you all can have a big picture of what our budget looks like, and then we will listen to your input as long as that takes.
Thank you, Mayor. Members of the public, it is a pleasure to have everyone here. And as the Mayor said, we do have a fairly lengthy budget process that we get into, as you can see by the calendar on the wall, that we actually started last November when we start going through and reviewing our CMIP projects, looking at capital projects across the community and projecting forward what we're going to be doing in the coming years. Then we meet in a strategic planning session, and that's more of a goal setting by the commission where we review and work on that as we move forward. And that takes us up to where we started today, earlier in special session, and looked at our long-range strategic financial planning and had an hour presentation and discussion on that. And now we move to where we are this evening, to where we have a public hearing. And this is an opportunity for you all, members of the public, to come forward and express different initiatives or ideas that they see regarding the way we spend our budget, public budget, as we build it. My staff really gets very active in the next month from this point through the month of March and into April as they build their budgets that will come forward that the commission starts to consider. And as the mayor said, we then go to a commission retreat on the 20th, which is really the commission's opportunity to weigh ideas that are brought forward tonight, weigh different ideas that staff has brought forward, and as we mold them to give me direction, as I go back and try to formulate all the different programs put together to then later present as a budget on July 6th of this year. I'll also note, as part of this hearing, we welcome public input regarding the 2017-2018 community development budget. However, the community development staff will be meeting with the governing body separately on March 20th to determine the CDBG process for this year. And then in addition, community development will have a specific public hearing on Thursday, April 6th at 7 p.m. to come forward and go specifically regarding community development program. But we still welcome those ideas at this meeting if you'd like to have it. So at this time, Mayor, I'd like to introduce Reginald Lindsay, our budget director, and he will begin the presentation along with our Chief Financial Officer, Kathleen Von Atchen, as they will go through a few slides, as you said, regarding really how we get into and what's in our 2017 budget. Mr. Lindsay?
Thank you, Doug. Last July, we approved a $345 million budget that includes revenues and expenditures that are a balanced budget. The largest portions of the budget on the revenue side are the property tax, which come in at 26% of the pie, and then sales tax, which comes in at 19% of the pie. And then we have charges for services, which come in at 16% of the pie. This slide here illustrates the revenue side, or the expenditure side of the $345 million budget. As we can see, public safety is the largest portion of the budget that is funded on the expenditure side at 39%. Then comes public works at 21%. And then our bond and interest fund at 15%, and then a close fourth is community services. This slide right here illustrates a 10-year historical view of what our consolidated general fund revenues have looked like. Our consolidated general fund is our city general fund, our county general fund, and our Parks and Recs consolidated fund, all consolidated together. As we can see with this 10-year historical view, we have total revenues where our tax revenue is our major portion. And the total revenues in 2008, just for the whole UG in the general funds, were $150 million. And now that we're in 2017, they're just under $2 million. The tax revenue in 2008 was $124 million, and now in 2017 is $169 million. Charges for services, which is our next largest source of revenue, in 2008 was $9.4 million, and now in 2017 we are at $12 million. This slide right here illustrates the expenditure side, which is the money that goes out when we pay for things, and it's looking at a historical 10-year from 2008 to 2017. The consolidated general fund expenses that are largest here are our salaries and benefits, which in 2008 were $129 million, and now they're $147 million in 2017. Services in 2008 were $27 million. In 2009, we dropped to $23 million. That was during our recessionary period. And now in 2017, our budget is set at $35 million. The next largest expenditure category are our supplies, which come in at $7.9 million in 2008. Lowest we dropped to was $5.3 million in 2014, and now we're at $6.6 million, which is still lower than where we were in 2008. And this is where we pay for fuel, so fuel was a lot of why the expenses haven't gotten back up. We were able to just cut fuel down. Also, capital expenditures in 2008 were $9.2 million, and they dropped in 2011 to $1.9 million. And right now, in 2017, we have $7.6 million built into the budget. What I'm going to do now is drill down into the city general fund. The city general fund is a $152 million budget that has revenues and expenditures balanced on both sides. The largest source of revenue is franchise tax, which comes in at 27%, and then sales tax, which comes in at 21%, and then property tax, which comes in at 17%. On the expenditure side, our largest category of expenditures are our personnel, which comes in at 69%, and then our services, which come in at 24%. This slide right here breaks down the county general fund, which is a $59 million budget, and our largest portion of revenue coming in are the property tax, which are come in at 60% of total revenue, and then our other taxes, which comes in at 16%. Other taxes are made up of motor vehicle, sales and use tax, and casino tax, and a few other taxes. Our sales tax is our next largest portion of revenue in the county general fund, and it comes in at 9%. On the expenditure side, our largest portion, which is pretty common to what we see on the city general side of the expenditure budget, is a $38 million budget, and that's 69% of the budget. And they both had, on the city side and the county side, a 69% personnel piece of the budget. And also the next largest piece is the services on this side also. Well, I just went through the city and the county general fund, but we have 29 other funds that make up $133 million of the budget, and it breaks it out in this pie right here. As we can see, the sewer system is the largest portion of this pie at 35%, debt service at 31%, and then also the EMS fund comes in at 9%, and then the dedicated sales tax comes in at 7%. I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer, Kathleen Von Atchen.
The slide I'm going to talk about is a listing of all the STAR revenue initiatives. So back on December 1st, 2016, about 3 months ago, the unified government paid off the $453 million that was issued 17 years ago for the Village West STAR bonds. And they were paid off 5 years early. And as a result, we no longer have to make that $12 million debt service payment. And so as a result, the $12 million is now being deposited into our general fund, as well as our emergency medical services fund and the dedicated sales tax fund. So the $12 million, how it's split up is $9 million of it will be deposited between the city and the county general funds, and then $1.8 million of it goes to the dedicated sales tax, and then $1 million will be deposited, or $1.2 million will be deposited to the EMS fund. And so, as a result, we went through an extensive process, including neighborhood listening tours over the past few years to gain citizen input into how the $12 million should be allocated, the new $12 million. And after that process and the budget process that occurred last fall and last summer, the result was that there was a 2 mil property tax reduction, which amounted to $2 million. There was, which is 18% of the $12 million. Roughly $2 million was spent on police and fire operations, as well as capital and equipment that was needed. $1.75 million is dedicated for various SOAR projects, which are sought to reduce blight and to make many other improvements to our community. 1.7 million of it is going to the fire department and EMS services, as well for equipment and operating. There are street repair, curb and sidewalk repair funding that amounts to $1.6 million. And we've augmented the funding for our Parks and Recreation by $1.3 million. The remaining funds go for facilities reinvestment, for improving our communication with the public, for enhancing our public transportation system, and various economic development and small business initiatives, and the aging. So quite a bit of thought and policy discussions went into this distribution of the $12 million, and that's it.
All right. Is that the end of the presentation?
Yeah, yes, it is.
Okay. Thank you very much.
So at this point, I think I'm going to pass it off back to Reggie, please, and he could talk a little bit about the citizen input forms.
Okay. Or is Mr. Bach going to
Probably take that, Kathleen. So
Oh, okay.
that's posted out there is we ask you all to come forward this evening to offer your input. This is our website. Also at that, we have budget input forms for you to fill out. We ask that if you would put that into writing, it helps us to kind of, maybe you have more than you want to put into 3 minutes in presentation this evening to go with what you'd have, but you can put this form forward to us. We ask to get it back by March 3rd. And then we can go through and digest that and move it forward from that standpoint. So,
All right. And if you are not able to download that form, let one of our staff know tonight, and we will see that you get a form mailed to you. But we want you to have that. All right. Before we open up to the public hearing, I do want to recognize former City Council member Mr. Chester Owens is in attendance tonight. Mr. Owens, always a pleasure to have you in the chamber. All right, that begins our public hearing now. I'm going to turn it over to Ms. Cobbins, our clerk, to call your name and bring you to the podium and to give you your 3 minutes of input. Ms. Cobbins?
We would like to welcome all present to the public meeting of the Unified Government of Wyandotte County, Kansas City, Kansas, regarding the proposed 2018 Unified Government and Community Development budgets. We appreciate the attendance of those people here this evening, and we recognize the importance of your views. We would, however, remind you that there are 15 individuals signed up to speak. Each person will be allowed 3 minutes to speak. Should you go to the 2-minute mark, I will announce that you have 1 minute remaining, and that will allow you time to wrap up your comments. As you come to the microphone, please state your name and city for the record. On deck means that you will be next to the podium. We would appreciate your efforts to be considerate to all during their comments. We ask that anyone with a cell phone to please turn them off or switch to non-audio. Once comments begin, we would appreciate no talking, clapping, or outbursts, so you would not disturb the hearing for recording purposes and for TV viewers. If any distractions occur, you may be asked to leave the room. To the podium is Edgar Galicia, and on deck will be Kyra, representing Heartland Black Chamber.
Mayor, Commissioners, UG staff, my name is Edgar Galicia, and I'm from Central Avenue Betterment Association. I'm the Executive Director. And what brings me here is nothing but Central Avenue. I believe we all know which avenue has decided not to die. We all know which avenue in the east part of Wyandotte has decided to continue thriving and increasing the amount of businesses that have really made home right there. But it's sad to know that there has been several businesses that have come and wander around our avenue and have had to leave the opportunity to come and join us because of the lack of parking that is all throughout the avenue. The rules and regulations are such that require an extensive amount of parking for each of these businesses that are open or want to open their doors. And with that, several of these entrepreneurs, several of these business owners have had to walk away. I am here to request that you take into consideration the infrastructure that is there on the avenue. And first, thank you for the improvement and investment that you have made as a county, as a city, as a unified government to the avenue itself. But we need to continue to look at it as what it is, a center of activity that can help our community change the trend of mind.
You have 1 minute, sir.
The trend of mind, the vision and opinion that we as a community and the greater Kansas City has of what Wyandotte County is all about. We can change that by improving and making Central Avenue a more friendly and business-oriented site to go and spend new, fresh dollars into our community. That's what I have to say. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Kyra McConyo will be to the podium. Crystal Watson will be on deck.
Good evening. My name is Kira McConico. I'm a 20-year veteran of Wyandotte County, and I'm a 12-year entrepreneur of Wyandotte County. I'd like to thank you all for hosting this event tonight for the community to come and have words to say about the budget that's coming up. During the listening tour, Mayor Mark Holland, you so graciously told us that when big business comes to town, you roll out the red carpet, and when small business comes to town, you roll out the red tape. One glance along Wyandotte County from the Missouri River, really, all the way to Providence Medical Center, we can see our county consists of small business owners. And tonight, on behalf of Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce, we really just want to raise awareness of an existing gap, an absence of combined resources located here in Wyandotte County for small business owners, women-owned businesses, as well as minority business entrepreneurs. There are multiple service agencies inside of the Kansas City metro area that provide resources to entrepreneurs, but none of those lie within Wyandotte County. And oftentimes our business owners have to go across the river or to Johnson County to utilize those resources to strengthen their businesses. So tonight we will be presenting an initiative to help entrepreneurs to get those resources right here in Wyandotte County. We are asking that unified government, along with Heartland Black Chamber of Commerce, explore a Ready for Business initiative to bring resources to Wyandotte County to help our entrepreneurs to expand their businesses, to retain jobs, and to grow their businesses. And one last thing we'd like to add. Our goal is to stand with unified government in this initiative. We know that you all are very conscious of small business owners, and we're wanting to make sure that we partner together on this initiative. Thank you very much.
Crystal Watson to the podium. Lewis Taylor will be on deck.
Good evening, Commission Board, to the Mayor, and to everyone here. I just want to reiterate the importance of us supporting small business in our community, particularly minority and women. As we look at, well, there was a statistic that came out. The Federal Reserve provided some information at the African American Roundtable and shared with us that in Kansas City, Kansas, in 2014, the average annual sale for African American business was $46,000 in Kansas City, Kansas. White business is 20 times higher than that. There's a lot that we can do. And of course, there's enough room for improvement. But we would ask that you would consider in your budget plan to allow for some small business initiatives that can help support and strengthen our community. We are a majority and minority, and there is great potential from even our youth in our community. And we want them to be able to see examples of great entrepreneurs within Wyandotte County. But we need your help to do that. We are way past time in being able to set up programs within unified government. We believe that with your leadership and the partnership of a chamber, not just with KCK Chamber, but with the Heartland Black Chamber, we believe we can be successful in growing and helping our minority businesses attain the same wealth as white business does in this community. We greatly ask for your support and continued funding in this area. Thank you.
Lewis Taylor to the podium. Chuck Slittler will be on deck.
I'd first like to say good evening to each and every one of you. I'm grateful to be here and grateful that you guys are here. I'm kind of new at this. I got directed by some good people along the way. I'm here on the behalf of McCurry Grocers, 1936 North 3rd. And by the grace of God, I was lost in this business. And people that I met throughout the years, work here in Wyandotte County, talked to me a few weeks, well, right before Thanksgiving, and tried to give me some guidance in what to do, because like I said before, I was lost. And they sent me down there to talk with someone on the 8th floor. They sent me to the budget department and also told me to come and speak with you guys. And I'll come to y'all today to ask, in the grace of God, McCurry Grocers, he have fought many years. He's gone on the rest of his soul. My mom is the only one that's been helping me to try to stay afloat, to keep the building somewhere near together. I made mistakes because I was told not to buy a lot of the sad stories that came about when people say they're hungry and want something and want this. But man, when you're sitting back there, ladies and gentlemen, and you're telling somebody no when they're hungry, and they may got away with doing that, but I know God is good overall. And so I bought all those excuses that I was told not to do. And so trying to keep the upbringing of that building has been real hard for me to do. That building is over 111 years old, I think exactly. But my question is today to you guys, if I could get you out just to consider, give me some kind of support to reestablish that building, get it up for the community again, and get it running, to help kids, get kids jobs in the neighborhood. And I always try to be a good influence on them, because that neighborhood, and I always try to tell them throughout my years to do the right thing, be okay, do the right thing, you'll be all right. So I always was good about giving. They come and tell me they need this, need that, and I know I couldn't afford it, and I don't want to take up much of y'all time, but somebody told me to address you guys just like I told them, and now I'm in a position now where I need help just to get the building back together again. And I like to ask it of you. And also I like to be able to put internet service out so they can have Wi-Fi, do stuff for the customers. So with y'all help, that's what I'm asking this evening. And thank you.
Thank you.
Chuck Slittler will be to the podium. Marsha Rupp, you will be on deck.
I'm Chuck Slittler, office at 726 Armstrong, Suite 201, Kansas City, Kansas. I'm Executive Director with the Downtown Shareholders of Kansas City, Kansas. And last December, we were awarded the contract as administrative agent of the Self-Supported Municipal Improvement District, the SMID. We're here to ask you to consider and grant the request of the SMID Advisory Board of an increase in the 2018 budget that would address needs in the area of marketing, landscaping, radio communications, and a general budget. Mr. Linkaluva, Board Chair, will be speaking to you in a few moments. We have each organization presented a letter, which I believe the clerk has distributed to you. I will send those also to your email addresses tomorrow electronically. And again, we would ask that you consider the request, grant the request, and we appreciate your consideration very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Marsha Rupp to the podium. Merle Bland, you will be on deck.
Good evening, Mayor, Commissioners, County Administrator. Tonight is about police, police, police. And everybody, I think the mayor had some meetings that he wanted us to attend. I wasn't able to attend them, but I'm sure he knows that's my number one thing. It always has been, the value of human life. We need more police, and we're never going to be caught up. So just keep having the academies. We don't care if they're 8 or 11. Bring in the good police. Everybody here needs them in the neighborhood. Proactive policing is the only thing. You're not going to stop it completely, but it's the only thing that comes close to stopping crime. Putting police in those areas that really need, attention, and interacting with the people that are in those areas. Maybe even passing out flyers, have the police, calling them to a meeting to sit down and have coffee and rolls and talk to them. But we have to have a police presence in the neighborhood. And you can't do that unless you have a lot of police doing knock and talks, just interacting with the neighbors. The other thing I wanted to mention, I've mentioned it before, is Parallel Parkway. It has got to be ground and overlaid. And if you don't have the money to do it, I understand. I've been to a lot of budgets, but you could at least go down. And I know that the mayor has to get to his church. So it's right where Parallel is so bad. And I'll tell you where it starts. It starts at Providence Hospital, coming down through where he, lives on Parallel, and going right straight to his church, and then it just stops right there. But every time you go through a stop sign or you go, a little ways, you're going to hit a great big bump where that pavement has moved.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
And it's just horrible. So please. And another thing I want to say really quick is I know we have the new SOAR, and I think that's going to be great. But making SOAR better would be to listen to the neighborhood watch groups. We have been trying to attend meetings to get landlord training involved. Not just going after the really bad ones, not the ones that are doing good. Nobody wants to go after, but the really bad landlords that are bringing in the wrong kind of people. So we would like you to really push to let us help out SOAR, work together with them. Even maybe have a group meet with them from, every neighborhood watch, meet with them from every area, every once in a while. Thank you.
I appreciate your concern for my church. Just for the record, the location of my church is not a consideration in our grind and overlay program, but thank you.
Earl Bland to the podium. Jerry Jones will be on deck.
Mayor Holland, Commissioners, UG staff, thank you for the opportunities to address the Unified Commission. I am Merle Bland. I live at 8311 Garfield Avenue, Kansas City, Kansas, 66112. I will be brief and to the point. Business West represents some 80 members, mostly small businesses. Property tax are a major concern for most of our members. One of the major drawbacks in attracting new businesses and new residents is high property taxes. We appreciate the Unified Commission in holding property taxes for 2017. We would certainly hope we can look forward to a mill rate reduction for the 2018 budget. All taxpayers need a break. Thank you for your consideration.
Mr. Bland, with all due respect, I will point out we did not hold the line in 2017. We reduced by 2 mills.
Okay.
So we're excellent input. Thank you.
Thank you.
Jerry Jones to the podium. Eugene Jackson will be on deck.
Thank you, Mayor Holland, County Commissioners, and staff. On behalf of the Wyandotte County Safety Net Clinics, some of whom are here, Duchesne Clinic, Mercy and Truth Medical Mission, Southwest Boulevard Family Health Care, Swope Health, and Wyandotte County Community Health Center, as well as Riverview Health Services and the Community Health Council. Thank you for this opportunity to address you all tonight. Tonight we're here in part because we share a common goal with the unified government, which is really to maximize the health and well-being of our citizens and to improve the quality of life. For many of the folks here in Wyandotte County, the only access they have to Quality, affordable health care is provided by these folks right over here. In 2016, the Wyandotte County Safety Net clinics treated 22,994 unique patients.
Can you repeat that number?
22,994. To put that in perspective, so in 2 weeks, Sporting KC is going to be hosting FC Dallas. That stadium holds 18,500. Imagine an entire stadium of people who needed to be treated for sickness, injury, and disease, filling that stadium, and then another 4,500 people waiting to get in to see those folks over there. That's how many people that the Wyandotte County Safety Net served in 2016. Collectively, we provided a grand total of 57,786 patient visits. We would love to be able to tell you the business is good, but it's not. We provided top-notch medical care and enabling services to each and every patient, regardless of their ability to pay. However, the reality is that the safety net provides 55% of the patients seen by them last year were uninsured.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay. So that's 12,647 people without insurance seeking primary care. So, as a safety net, we recognize that changes are on the horizon in DC, in Topeka. Uncertainty has never been higher. Our patients can't afford that level of uncertainty to access to care here in Kansas City, Kansas. So on behalf of the Wyandotte Safety Net clinics, we're asking for serious consideration to be given to establishing a line item beginning with the 2018 budget that would go towards the costs associated to providing medical care and supporting services to the most socially and economically vulnerable patients here in Wyandotte County. We thank you for your attention to this important issue and your commitment to the health of all Wyandotte County residents. Thank you.
Thank you.
Eugene Jackson to the podium. Lynn Kaluva will be on deck.
Good evening, Mayor Hollins, commissioners, and staff. My name is Eugene Jackson, and I'm here on behalf of the Quindaro Development Corporation, doing business as the Quindaro Community Center, located at 2726 Brown Avenue. For the last 3 months approximately, members of the Quindaro Development Corporation have been meeting with Commissioners Bynum, Commissioner Johnson, and Commissioner Gail Townsend. We have, our meeting has been primarily about the Quindaro area, the Brown Avenue corridor specifically. But tonight we have residents here representing the whole northeast area that are behind me. However, our request remains the same. We are asking for monies to be added to the unified government's general budget for cleanup, street sweeping, tree topping, and dead tree removal where necessary, blighted building removal, boarded up buildings and houses dealt with, code enforcements of ordinances already on the books that will help bring about revitalization to the northeast area. On December 15th, 2016, members of the Quindaro Development Corporation met with Commissioners Johnson and Bynum and left 20 8x10 colored photos of properties that were either blighted or boarded up. Since then, we were assured that some of these properties was already on the demolition block.
You have 1 minute, sir.
Okay. We ask that you would make your community development block grants more transparent, that deal with roofs, electrical, plumbing, furnaces, and barrier removal. A lot of these homes do not have computers in them, and so the residents don't know that these services exist or how to qualify for the assistance. Also, you have during the year, or at the beginning of the year of 2017, there was $50,000 allotted for minor repairs. that's through your livable neighborhood division. We asked again that these programs be allotted to be presented to people that don't have computers. In the incoming weeks, the Quindaro Community Development Committee will be submitting to Commissioner Gail Townsend
Your time is
programs
up, sir.
that will
Thank you.
we believe that will help in this effort. Thank you.
You said a number of people came with you. If there are those of you who came in support of Mr. Jackson who are here but did not choose to speak, if you would stand so we can recognize your presence. Okay, thank you.
Lynn Kaluva to the podium. Stacy Yeager Huddleston will be on deck.
Good evening, Mayor Holland, commissioners, Mr. Bach, staff. My name is Lynn Kaluva. My address is 833 Minnesota Avenue. I'm here this evening, as Chuck Schlittler said, as the chairman of the advisory board for the Downtown Improvement District, or what many people call the SMID or the SCHMID. Same thing. As Chuck said, we have provided you with our request for funding for the year 2018. I won't take your time to discuss that in detail now. I'm sure we will be doing that over the weeks and months ahead. But I would like to take this opportunity to publicly express the appreciation from the advisory board and from all of your neighbors downtown for your continuing support for the improvement district, both financially and otherwise. And through your assistance and working with the district, over the last 8 or 9 years, we've significantly improved downtown. We've made it cleaner, safer. Downtown is now a better place to shop, work, do business, whatever you want to do downtown. But that's in the past. We're talking about the future now. The commission very wisely extended the term of the district through the year 2026. That demonstrates your confidence in us, and your commitment to downtown over the next 10 years. What are we going to do going forward? It's not enough to make downtown clean and safe. Now we want to make it attractive, maybe even beautiful. You will be seeing over the next few months over 100 new banners going up on lampposts downtown, colorful new fresh banners. One side will say, "Welcome to downtown KCK." The other side will be a celebration of the diversity, the cultural diversity
You have
of
1
all
minute,
of us
sir.
working downtown. The next thing we want to do, starting in 2018, is some landscaping. This was part of our initial mission. We didn't have the resources to do it. It's time to do it, particularly considering that other things are going to be happening over the next 10 years downtown with the Downtown Parkway District, Healthy Campus, and so forth. So we've got to make the rest of the downtown attractive and beautiful as well. So it'll take time. We want to start in 2018. We want to make downtown one that we will all, again, be proud of, and this time we'll do it without pylons. I just want to see which commissioners are old enough to remember the pylons. Anyway, in conclusion, I want to remind you, as I do every year at budget time, the payment that the unified government makes to the district is not coming from our local government. It's coming from another property owner within our district,
Your time
such
is
as
up.
myself,
Thank you, sir.
and all of your other neighbors. So please give our request your serious consideration. Thank you.
Thank you.
Stacy Yeager Huddleton to the podium. Carolyn Wyatt will be on deck.
Hello, Mayor and Commissioners. I'm Dr. Stacy Yeager Huddleston. I represent you as a small business owner as well as a parent. There's a couple of things I think that need to be addressed within the budget. First, from the parent perspective. We talk about crime and how we increase the amount of police presence, but what we do not have is an increased presence in activities for our youth. We need stronger programs through the Department of Park and Recreations or other departments that will have a strong present during the summer, an 8 or 6 week program that will encompass a wraparound approach to address our youth as well as their parents, will help them to stay on track and avoid getting in trouble during our summer times. There is a lot of strength in our community with leaders who are willing to lead these summer programs. We just need the avenue and the appropriate channels to support the funding for these programs. We've had freedom schools these past years. This year is no longer as strong as it was in the past. There are a couple of programs that are available, but they are at high cost. One of them, I just was alerted, the price is over $250 for one child to attend an 8-week program. As we know, a lot of our citizens cannot afford this. So I encourage you to incorporate in your budget in each area a place for our youth to go this summer. Another area I wanted to address was funding for small business owners. I'm your wonderful, awesome Mary Kay director for this area. Yay. So I come to you as a business owner. I applied for a business grant. I am an African American woman with a small business who have a number of consultants in this area. As we know, people with small businesses, we also help with finances coming from inside out. And Mary Kay is one of the corporations that has been around over 50 years with a large number of women entrepreneurs pouring back into the community and strengthening the community. So I ask that you will extend the small business grant program to have more money. I was one of those who found out about the program latter part of last year, and I was advised by Charles that the funding had run out. So I ask that you would please increase that for those owners who are small business, making an impact in this community, who want to see more. And quite honestly, we need to support the community by giving money to those who are within so that we can refurbish that money or pass it on to others. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Carolyn Wyatt to the podium. Chester Owens will be on deck.
Good evening, Commissioners and Mayor. Carolyn Wyatt, 359 Troop. I was here last year. It was funded. JFK Recreation Center was funded, but there are no programs yet. And I'm asking for funds for 2018, hoping that the funds for 2017 will start being implemented. But I just want to say that I gave a number of programs last year. I kind of knocked it down this year, but that's not my job. I don't get paid to do this, but I'm a community person that care about kids. And so there are programs I have here for seniors, arts and craft for kids, tutoring, and ACT workshops for high school students, health and wellness classes, seminars, games and exercise programs for seniors during the day, midday. The building is not being utilized as should. Other gymnasiums and community centers in our cities are well utilized, and we just want to make sure that John F. Kennedy Recreation Center, we have a lot of schools in the area, high schools, grade schools. These kids have nowhere to go. It's there for them. And all we need you to do is to start implement the programs. Let the money go, because it already passed last year. So just here on behalf of the community to let the programs get started at John F. Kennedy Recreation Center. Like the lady said, we have these kids. You know, you have kids, you know, your neighborhood, maybe they have programs. Right now in the John F. Kennedy Recreation Center, we got basketball, a few other things, but nothing really that can touch a child that can change his life. And we're hoping the commissioners will come together on this and let us utilize that building as it should be for the Northeast area in Wyandotte County. So basically, that's what I'm here to talk about. And we didn't put a budget number on there.
You have 1 minute, ma'am.
A budget figure on there because we already know that, you know, that the funds just need to come in. And I have some of these to pass out to some of the commissioners.
Chester Owens to the podium. Rodney Easterwood will be on deck.
Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Bach, staff. My name is Chester Owens. I live at 1150 Washington Boulevard. I don't envy you guys because I know what you'll be going through to get the budget completed. You know, I hear businesses, and we need businesses. That's the lifeblood. Operated a business for 39 years here in this city, and it's still operating. Matter of fact, this business is 70 years old. It will be 70 years in October, still operating. As many of you know, I spend a great deal of time with young people. This is something that I've been very successful with, even though I'm an old guy now. We do a lot of things in our area, and even though we need businesses, and I hear a lot of comments today, we never must lose sight of people, particular people in the neighborhoods. I know that you all concerned about them, but let me say that I appear before you tonight regarding the budget allocation for John F. Kennedy Center. Some of you may not be aware that JFK was closed for over 10 years. In my opinion, of all of the rec centers in Kansas City, Kansas, this is one who never should have been closed. Never should have been closed. It was reopened in 2010 only because of the insistence, and that is putting it mildly, of community members. A process that we took that never should have been allowed to have had to take place. I live 2 blocks from JFK, and I am a frequent visitor to the center, and it is highly utilized. It should be available to the community every day and every hour that it's open. The youth who live in the area of the center need a place to go for recreation, and seniors need a place for exercise, and the community needs a place for meetings. JFK has only one person who do everything. If there is a center that needs all type of programming, it's JFK. The staff person there does an outstanding job. Matter of fact, I don't know how he's able to do all the things that he does and accomplish. It is our hope that this center will be treated the same as the other recreation centers and adequately staffed. It is needed now more than ever. Thank you, and good luck on the budget.
Spoken as a veteran city council member. Thank you, Mr. Owens.
Rodney Easterwood to the podium, and the final speaker will be America Patton will be on deck.
Thank you, Commissioner, for the Board of Commissioners and Mayor. Thank you for this opportunity to express my concerns here about the Kansas City area. I've been a long-time business owner here in Kansas City. My name is Rodney, better known as Lucky Easterwood, and I am the mural painter of this area. I constructed a mural back in 1996, and to this day, people are still posing and have interest in that site. Since then, I thought it would be a program that would continue here in the city, but for somehow it got off track, and I've painted in several states across the country. But I want to bring this project back to Kansas City to compete with cities such as New Orleans, New York, and Chicago. And I believe I can construct murals that has an impact in the city. Somehow, I know there's murals that went up, but somehow the murals I create are different because they tend to inspire, they have a message, and it creates interest in the city. And I didn't put this in my budget, but the offspring of this project allowed me to be the ambassador to the arts, which means that I go into schools, I speak to kids who have interest in the art, and I do a lot of things that is an offspring of this project. And I have 3 locations that I intend to address in this area. One of them is 5th and Washington. There's a wall there that's about 10 feet high and about 100 feet long. That is blighted, and I want to turn that into a backdrop for the city. I want to turn it into a landmark for the city, and also a backdrop for tourists when they come in, because as I stated, the mural at 7th and Quindaro, they still show interest in that.
You have 1 minute, sir.
And even today, as I went down to take pictures of that, it was still people's there taking pictures, and I asked them whether there's an interest, and that's the only thing they have of interest in this community, so I want to change that. There's also a location at 7th and Minnesota at the bus station, and there is another revitalization project that I intend to do in this area. So I just ask that you would consider this so I can make a big improvement here in the city as we go on with the other projects that other citizens here are interested in, so we can beautify the city. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
America Patton to the podium.
Good evening, guys. You guys look lovely. You guys also look lovely. Everybody here looks lovely. So thank you, Mayor Holland and staff on deck today for allowing for us to speak on behalf of the community of Wyandotte County. I'm here representing the Quindaro Underground Railroad Museum, which is known as the Vernon Multipurpose Center. Last year, I had the privilege of serving as a Kansas AmeriCorps member. One of the nonprofit agencies that I adopt as an AmeriCorps member was the Vernon Underground Railroad Museum. Number one reason why I adopted that museum was because I was a lover of history. My undergrad was in history from McPherson College. So being a African American who grew up in this community and did not know about this rich museum, I thought that this would be an awesome opportunity for me to help build this museum. One of the things that I did during this period is I engaged in an indoor mural with the youth ambassadors. And we did phase 1 of the mural, but it's still not finished yet. While serving there, I also learned that there was a rich amount of history that never had been uncovered at the Underground Railroad Museum. I spent a great deal of time at Spencer Research Library in KU, learning about the documents that were never opened in this museum. One of the individuals I came across was Bishop Vernon. His story is important to this community. I feel that strong museums equal strong communities. People like Bishop Vernon, who served as a minister in government, who served as a treasurer for the United States government, is a story that needs to be told not only to this community, but to the next generation of leaders. Not only does the story need to be told, it needs to be preserved. I had the opportunity to work with Mr. Patton, Cedric, at the museum.
1 minute, sir.
One thing that we discussed is that this school, which is used to be known as Vernon Elementary School, it was never integrated. And the location of this area doesn't get a lot of visitors. So we're asking if you guys could come up with innovative solutions to help attract people to this museum, to get people to come to that area, because it's known as a historical landmark. Right down the street is the Underground Railroad, where John Brown brought many slaves to freedom. And if this story is buried, and the stories of Quindaro are buried, I feel that our next generation of leaders are going to be doomed to repeat history. Thank you.
Thank you. And sir, I just want to thank you for raising the standard of dress in this room tonight. You look especially dapper tonight. Amen. He's got a bow tie and a lapel. Come on. I can't keep up. All right, that's everyone. All right, I just want to say on behalf of the entire commission how appreciative we are of you taking time out of your evening to come out and to share your views with the Board of Commissioners. Public input matters, and we appreciate your taking the time to come out tonight. You are welcome to stay for the remainder of our meeting. If you do not want to, you are welcome to leave quietly because we're going to continue with our meeting as we go. So thank you again for coming here. It does bring us to our administrator's agenda. We have a resolution for the Kansas State Historic Preservation Grant for Quindaro Ruins District. Mr. Bach, would you like to speak to this?
Thank you, Mayor. I'm actually going to recognize Marlon Goff with staff, who's going to set up this item. It's a recommendation to submit an initiative for a grant for an historic landmark designation. So at this time, I'll recognize Marlon Goff, who's with our Economic Development Department.
Thank you, Administrator Bach. Good evening, Mayor, members of the Commission, and staff. Marlon Goff with Economic Development. So the action item before you tonight is a resolution authorizing the staff to submit an application to the Kansas Historical Society. That grant application would be in partnership with an organization called Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area. Assistant County Administrator Criswell and our Parks and Recreation Director, Jeremy Rogers, and we hosted a series of informational meetings with this group over the past year, and we were made aware of their work with a local group of citizens, business owners, and community stakeholders around the Quindaro Ruins District. And essentially, that group has been working towards the pursuit of National Historic Landmark status for the district. And so Freedom's Frontier, they're based in Lawrence, Kansas, and they have their executive director here tonight, as well as members of their staff and board members who will present here shortly. But I wanted to make the governing body aware of this opportunity. We just recently found about the grant opportunity, and so that's why this item is here before you tonight. Typically we'll track these items through our standing committee. There is time sensitivity with the grant deadline, and so I'm going to introduce Mr. Jim Ogle with Freedom's Frontier, who not only talk about their organization, but more importantly, the work they've already been doing in the community for the better part of the last 2 years, and then specifically about this grant opportunity, which will assist in that effort of pursuing that historic landmark status. So with that, I'll introduce Mr. Ogle.
Good evening to all of you, Mr. Mayor, Administrator, Commissioners, Deputy Administrator. It's good to see you again. I must admit I wasn't given any training on your computer, so I hope I do this correctly. A couple of my staff members will be joining me in this presentation. Julie McPike is our Managing Director, and Liz Hobson is in charge of our education and interpretive grants. They have a variety of materials we want to leave you with here today as part of what we're trying to do to educate you about what it is that we do. Now, I'm pleased to be joined by 3 of the members of the Board of Directors of Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area. Janeth English, who is the Principal Chief of the Wyandotte Nation of Kansas, Craig Patterson of CP and Associates, Architects and Planners, and Luther Smith, who's Director of the Quindaro Underground Railroad Museum. I'm also want to call attention to Marvin Robertson, who probably as much as anybody else who has maintained this fire and enthusiasm for moving forward in remembering the importance of the Quindaro area. Now, Freedom's Frontier National Heritage Area is one of 49. You see them outlined on the map, and we also happen to be one of the largest. 3 million people are covered by the area we serve, 30,000 square miles. We're affiliated with the National Park Service, which provides technical assistance and financial assistance for us as part of our designation. You can see the outline of the counties here that we serve, 29 in Kansas, including Wyandotte, and of course 12 in the state of Missouri. We tell a number of stories, but the federal government, when they passed the legislation that established us, said that our 3 stories of significance are the Missouri-Kansas border war, settling of the frontier, and the enduring struggle for freedom. We operate on a partnership basis with a diversity of partners, more than 150 throughout the area. And we're very fortunate that those partners can receive this variety of different support purposes throughout what we do. I'm very excited to showcase who those partners are, and I want to invite Julie to come up and tell you what we've been doing in association with the Quindaro area. Julie?
Hi, thank you for your time this evening.
Freedom's Frontier was established in 2006 by a piece of federal legislation. As Jim said, these counties in the outline here, ever since the beginning of the heritage area, we've recognized the importance of the history here in Wyandotte County, and also especially the history at Quindaro. If you drill down close, you can see a number of sites around the Quindaro area are part of the story of Freedom's Frontier as we recognize them on our map. So our work, while our relationship with these stories and with this site has gone back to 2006, and even before then as we were working to gain the federal designation, our work on this project really started in August of 2015. The Rivers Trails Conservation Association, the RTCA, which is a program of the Park Service, came and had a public meeting at the Quindaro Overlook. The RTCA gentleman who is in the Midwest Regional Office, Brian Leaders, called me and invited me to come to the Overlook to the meeting. Because of both of us having an affiliation with the Park Service, he wanted to be sure that Freedom's Frontier was plugged into anything that might happen in the future of the site. So this was a really great meeting. About 30 community members came out, talked to Brian about the significance of the site, and Brian went back to Omaha and looked at some different options as to what the Park Service might be able to do with the site and with the partners here. And his recommendation back to us was National Historic Landmark designation for the site. And so since then, Freedom's Frontier has been working with this group of stakeholders to get us to that point. We had a follow-up meeting in December of 2015 at the Allen Chapel AME Church with that same group of stakeholders invited to talk more about what National Historic Landmark designation means, and also to talk about a vision for the site moving forward. And Liz is going to take over from here, Liz Hapson.
Thank you all. So after the follow-up meeting, at this meeting, we kind of talked more about what is a National Historic Landmark and what does that status mean. So currently, the ruins and the town site, they are listed on the National Register of Historic Places. So both of these are kept by the Park Service. A National Register designates the local significance by a huge amount. It's saying that it should be preserved, and the story is very significant to the area. To bump it up to a National Historic Landmark is saying that there's a national significance, that the area is not only important to the region, but more to the entire country and our nation's story. So we thought that this was a great opportunity for the Quindaro area because their story, the story there is so significant to the nation, not just regionally. So by doing this project, we're going to increase the scope of the historical content. To back up a little bit, we did put in the first step of this process. It is a very lengthy process, and there are a lot of reviews and edits with the Park Service that you go through. The first step was completed in late 2015, and that was actually writing a letter of your interest to the Park Service saying that you think this is nationally significant and can we do this? And they actually wrote back. We'd received their response in January of 2017, and they consulted with the Kansas State Historic Preservation Office, as well as the community members, the Wyandotte Nation of Kansas. Everybody who's been involved with this project received this letter saying, yes, we, the Park Service, believe that this is a valid step to go to become a National Historic Landmark, but they did have a very clear outline for us going forward that the story that's in the 2002 National Register nomination is not just the only story. It needs to be broader, widened, and to really make it shine like the story should. So pursuing this, now we have the Park Service saying, yes, it's worthy. It's going to bring more visibility for the region. There's only 2,500 properties listed as National Historic Landmarks, while there are a much larger number of National Register numbers. I should have that too, but it's very distinct to be designated a National Historic Landmark versus just a property on the National Register. This also could bring increased opportunity for funding. There's different grants, there's different tax incentives, and you can get more opportunities for technical assistance if you're listed as a National Historic Landmark. But when it comes to the visibility, the National Park Service does like to showcase the sites that are listed on the National Historic Landmark by putting them in magazines, doing more research on them, but also the educational aspect. With Freedom's Frontier, we already do a series of lesson plans that are modeled after the Park Service lesson plans, but if this were to be listed as a landmark, there's a good chance that the Park Service could also develop some lesson plans and really start broadening the reach of the story. So kids in California could then learn about the stories of Quindaro. So after that first meeting, when we all agreed that this was the step to go and that the Park Service was going to be on board, we began forming committees of these various stakeholders that Julie mentioned and community members, collections committees, interpretive committees, preservation, just kind of talking about the different things that we can do, knowing that there was so much story that we still wanted to tell and that wasn't already out there. We wanted to just start getting everybody together who had all this passion and start coming up with some ideas. And they've been really successful. We've had people find new items, research items and artifacts, but we've also gotten together and realized that the community of Quindaro is getting older, the residents, and we wanted to sit down and talk with them and really capture their stories. So Freedom's Frontier actually partnered with the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library and started offering a Quindaro oral history project. So we didn't know what the success would be of it. We just kind of wanted to get the word out there that the library has resources that can record your memories and record your stories at any time. So we thought, well, we'll just have it on a Saturday and see what happens. And we actually had 9 interviews that Saturday that just happened in February. And so we have volunteers to transcribe them and to use them, and they'll be on the Kansas City, Kansas Public Library website. So we're hoping that all of these projects, and then they had some people actually bring in documents that some people had never seen, so we were able to take pictures of them and make sure we knew where to find them. So we're hoping that all of this information that we are gathering can then help us elevate to the next level of this National Historic Landmark. We're also going to be hosting, Freedom's Frontier is going to be hosting a public symposium entitled The Significance of Quindaro. And what we envision with this is that we would actually compile all of that research that's been doing and going on, and actually take what we hope to be the consultant that this grant would help fund, which I'll get to in a moment, but really sharing it with the public so that there's record of the public being able to see all the great stories and things that haven't been shared before. So all of this work has been really helpful and really productive, but none of the groups that we've mentioned or Freedom's Frontier really has the time and resources to put into the next steps of this application for the National Historic Landmark. We can work together and find all of this stuff, but it's a very lengthy process to develop the application. So what the National Park Service suggested to us was to work with a consultant to come in and have them really take the time and develop the application for the National Historic Landmark. So the grant that was passed out to you as well, that is a draft of what we would submit to the Kansas State Historic Preservational Fund grant. And so this grant is requesting the $15,000 to hire a consultant to work on this project for the next year, and then in turn finalize the application to the Park Service.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. So again, thanks to Jim. Well, first, I guess I can stand and allow you guys, if you have any questions or comments for those guys before we restate the action item before you tonight.
We just need a motion.
Vote for approval. Second.
All right, we have a motion, a second. I do have a couple of requests for comment, Mrs. Bynum.
I just want to clarify the blue sheet and the documents that we have. It's a resolution for a Kansas State Historic Preservation Grant Fund.
Right. Correct.
But it's actually a request for national.
No. So
That's what I want to know.
Right.
What are we approving?
Sure. So the action item before you for approval is a resolution. The resolution will authorize the staff to submit the application on behalf of the unified government.
And there's no grant involved.
It is. So
There is a grant.
Yeah. So the granting agency is the Kansas Historical Society. The unified government would be the applicant, and Freedom's Frontier would be our administrative agent for the grant. So essentially, there's a precedent for this. We've done this with downtown shareholders, for example, recently, where we'll apply for the grant, so we'll lend our, capacity to pursue the grant. The Historic Society awards it. Freedom Frontier then functions as our technical assistant to administer the grant.
Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to say, I guess the timing of this was really fortuitous tonight, that it dovetailed with the presence here of many residents and concerned citizens who live and or work or have some other connection with the Quindaro area. You heard residents and representatives from the Quindaro Development Corporation tonight ask for particular monies in the budget to do what we should already be doing: upkeep, code enforcement, demolition, to make that area look better. This is just another reason tonight of why that type of money should be put in the budget. I'm also grateful to all of the constituents here, and Mr. Ogle, Ms. McPike, Ms. Hobson, and everyone working with that organization. And as you say, you sought out and continue to seek stakeholders. There's so many people in that area that have an interest. I hope this effort will bring a lot of those together. I'm reminded of not only those people present tonight who have fire in the belly for that area, but I also think back to the late Jesse Hope and what he did for the old Quindaro Museum. And I would venture to say back in the, I think, late 80s, when that area was at risk of being used as a dump, and what it looks like now and where it's going. So I want to thank all of these entities, all of the constituents and members of the community tonight, and I would urge my colleagues here on the commission to approve this grant application. Thank you.
Thank you. Commissioner Philbrook.
I just have a couple of points of information, if you don't mind, Marlon. On here where it says in the resolution about the unified government must provide a cash or in-kind match according to the terms of the grant award. And then on this side, when you're talking about the project budget, you're talking $15,000. Can you pull all of these little numbers together and let me know exactly how that money flow is?
Yeah, absolutely. So the intent of the grant, the budget amount, and we're yet to finalize the final budget, would be to request $15,000 from the Historical Society for purpose of hiring a research consultant to pursue that effort towards submitting the application for national landmark status. And so as part of the grant, there is a matching requirement. However, it does not have to be in the cash form. It can be in in-kind services. So as we talked about that as both the staff and with Freedom's Frontier, there are some correlating initiatives that we have going on now with the unified government. One would be the Northeast Master Plan. that overlaps and covers this footprint of this area, as well as our consolidated parks master plan, which, the Quindaro Park, again, covers the western edge of those ruins. And so in talking with the Freedom's Frontier team, those are two candidates that we can offer as an example of matching in-kind contribution that would be sufficient to cover that requirement that the grant authority has.
So, thank you for all your hard work, all of you. And I know that the gentleman that's been working hard at the Quindaro Underground Railroad, I got to visit his museum at length one day, and I was very impressed, and I want to thank you very much for staying with that and working so hard. I just needed a clarification of that so I knew in my mind what we're talking about.
No, that's a good question. I should have covered that during the presentation. But,
Thank
thanks
you.
for asking.
Commissioner Walker.
I only have one comment about this, and it may be because I've been around City Hall a long time. There's been a lot of people that have joined in this, and certainly not to take credit away from any of them, but only one individual kept this project or this dream alive. He's sitting back there, Marvin Robinson. And I'll tell you, because the waste company that wanted to build a landfill there was within a matter of weeks of bulldozing Quindaro into the dirt, the rocks, the remnants of the buildings. It was all that stood between, at that time, and you have to go back in time, from that area, and Mr. Owens was up on the commission, I believe, and there was, it was an impetus to keep it from being a landfill, and that was the preservation of Quindaro. And I think Mr. Robinson, Marvin, saw that long before anybody else saw the significance of what those foundations and remnants of buildings and artifacts and the historical. So I'm glad everybody's still on this. It's what, 30 years later, going on 30 anyway, if not 30, but I wish you well on this, and I certainly intend to vote in favor of this resolution.
Commissioner Townsend.
Thank you, Mayor. One question I forgot to ask. I think Ms. Hobson mentioned that there are only about 2,500 of these national historical landmarks in the country. What does such a designation do to making funds possibly available from the National Park Service to preserve, protect, anything that gets that designation?
I think there's so few of them compared to just National Register sites that they're actually kind of elevated more so than just locally preserved. So they're more, it increases your chances for the funding.
Would there be a separate application process that a National Historic Landmark, whatever that entity is, would have to go through to get
There's
funds?
actually things just for those listed on the National Historic Landmark. So it would be a separate application, but then it would also increase your chances on a grant like this that we're applying for, the Historic Preservation Fund, that would actually boost our chances of receiving a grant in the future by being a National Historic Landmark, is what I'm understanding from this process.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you all for your presentation and for the commissioner's comments. We have a motion and a second before us. Roll call.
Roll call. Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. Markley. Walters. The vote is 9-0. That motion carries.
Thank you all very much. Thank you. The next item on the agenda is a commissioner's agenda. We have a travel request for Commissioner
To
Kane.
approve as submitted.
Commissioner Kane and I both will be traveling to Washington, D.C. for National Police Week. There will be a memorial. We haven't made rooming arrangements yet.
Too much information.
The National Police Week includes a memorial for all the police officers around this country who have lost their lives. And we will be attending that with the families of the Lancaster family and the Melton family, as well as a significant detail from our own police department. We feel like it's an honor that the national government does this, and an honor to honor our two fallen police officers in this way. We have a motion and a second for its approval. Roll call.
Roll call. Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Walker. Aye. Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. Markley. Walters. The vote is 9-0. That motion carries.
We're now in recess as the Board of Commissioners, and we are convened as the Board of Trustees for the Land Bank. Yes?
Point of personal privilege.
Commissioner Walker.
Um,
Your microphone's not on.
The microphone's not on. Okay. I don't know. I think we could afford good microphones.
They work better if you sit closer to them.
I suppose. Well, in basketball, they would say one and done. I'm announcing for those that are interested that I am not going to be a candidate for re-election to a second term. I thought it was appropriate that I give enough notice so that I'm sure there will be candidates aplenty who might want this job. I've been in this building 38 years by the time this term is over, and I have to tell you, that's enough. So, but I will be here, and I will be my usual cantankerous self for another 10 months, and I will continue to enjoy the back and forth with all of you. And I expect as the months go on, there's going to be a lot of back and forth. All right, no big deal. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Walker. All right, we are now in recess as the Board of Commissioners, and we are called to order as the Land Bank Board of Trustees. All items are on the consent agenda.
Second.
If anyone in attendance tonight or any commissioner or staff member would like to remove an item from the consent agenda, please step forward to the microphone now. All items not so removed will be voted in a single vote. Let the record show no one is moving to the microphone to remove an item. It is properly before us. Roll call.
Roll call. Philbrook.
Aye.
Bynum.
Aye.
Walker.
Aye.
Townsend.
Aye.
McKiernan.
Aye.
Johnson.
Aye.
Kane. Markley. Walters. Vote is 9-0. That motion carries.
All right, recess is over. We are now back as the Board of Commissioners, and I'll entertain a motion for executive session.
Mr. Mayor, I move that the commission go into executive session until 9:15 p.m. to discuss confidential matters regarding purchase considerations and property locations related to land acquisition as permitted under the Kansas Open Meetings Act, and that staff designated by the county administrator be present to participate in this discussion.
Well, we would only need to come back down here. Bridge has got it. Yeah, we would only have to come back down here if we were going to extend it. Roll call. Excuse me. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are in executive session. Thank you all for coming tonight.
The commission will reconvene in open session at 9:15 p.m. in the commission chambers located on the first floor. If there is no further business, the commission will adjourn the meeting at the conclusion of the executive session.